Welcome back to the NLC. We are jumping directly into our second game of the day. Of course, it's best of 3 series, so we've got the same 2 teams, Nordavind and Singularity, but Foxdrop, Nordavind, going to be a little bit worried going into this one.
Just a tad. You lose one more game, and that's it. Your NLC dream is dead. You're gone. We'll see you next year, and obviously E-Masters as well. Won't be able to compete for that one. So, yeah, a lot's on the line right now. Going down 1 game in a best of 3, never great. And I think especially in the fashion where it happened, where Nordavind kind of played to their strengths, I would say a little bit, with Kerberos on that split push style. Obviously, they can change a lot in the draft, and they really should. But generally speaking, it's not like they just, they played their game and they will beat their own game, and that's going to be tough.
I feel like it wasn't an out of sports draft for Nordavind. I just feel like in response to what Singularity had, it didn't really mesh. And they are on red side, which is honestly the best adaptation. It's just now that Kerberos has that ability to pick there on red 5, a lot of his picks have a lot more value in that regard. And I feel like going into second rotation, Singularity might be sweating a bit, looking to ban away things like that Nasus. And who knows what he could bring out, really. Trinomir, maybe. Warwick, who even knows?
Oh, that excites me. The Warwick shout excites me.
He spoke to me about Warwick the other day, and he said the champion's legitimately good. If it didn't run out of mana in like 2 abilities, it would actually be playable.
So it's not good then.
So it's not playable, is what you're saying.
There's one fatal flaw, right? Yeah, maybe build tier on him.
If anyone were to do that, it would be Kerberos. I would not even be that surprised. First item tier Warwick top, heard it here first. We'll have to see, of course, who Nordavind banned to make that Warwick pick viable, because I'm not sure you can just blind it. And there is the Nasus cover from Singularity. A bit of disrespect from them going over to Nordavind. That was kind of like their X factor for their comp and for their strategy in playoffs. Didn't quite work out for them. But I think it was fair to say at the draft, what they were playing into did not suit what Nordavind picked. So we're going to see some change-ups already. Singularity, though, sticking to their guns with that Varus first pick.
Yeah, and again, I really like the Varus because of the versatility. We've seen a lot more teams going the on-hit sort of auto-attack based Varus compared to the poke Varus. You have that flexibility with it. The ultimate's a really powerful tool. And they can still go a poke route. The Ziggs is now banned, but the Jace has been freed up as a result. The only downside with that is it's very heavy AD focused, and you would need like an AP jungler most likely from Nulti, which isn't necessarily a problem, just something we're thinking about. And they are going to go for that Calista again. I'm not too sure on the Calista into Varus, but there is some advantages. Being on that red side, I don't think Singularity can be as comfortable picking Braum, although to be fair, they picked Braum before and they didn't really ban any supports away. So they could just go the Braum here in a similar vein. I don't see why not. Lee Sin also something that's an option that's available. But if they are potentially leaning into the Jace, Nidalee makes a lot of sense. She did get a slight health buff on this patch. It's a comfort pick for Nulti, and you have that Jace as an option to pair up, but they're just going to stick with the Lee.
Which makes sense. It's a very good pick. They could still potentially go for that Jace and might leave their portfolio a little bit strange on the top side. Just going to consider what to put in that final one, but haven't seen too much different. And there we go. There's going to be the Syndra. It's something, again, you said Orcs in the beginning of last game. It's been buffed, so it is looking a little bit better. Didn't look perfect for the last game, but it's in Furo's hands now.
I'm also just going to echo Orcs' sentiment of Calista into Varus. I think it's really tough to play. But you do have options for like hard engage onto Varus, which is what Varus struggles with. If you can get a support that you can just chuck into Varus's face and you can knock him down, there is potential there. Ericsson's going to lock in his Orianna. He's very good at that champion. And honestly, against Syndra, I just think you can just nullify that mid lane. You're just chilling out. Although you will have to be careful. With Lee Sin Syndra as a 1-2, there's a lot of power there, a lot of combo. And Ericsson could find himself being vulnerable to that.
Braum ban is no big surprise in this situation. It'll be interesting to see if they ban another support here, potentially thin out the pool of Wazor in this situation. Singularity probably, they target the Nautilus. I feel like Alistair is also something that touch often plays. That they leans into, they could pick up here with the Braum down and unavailable, or maybe they look to ban the Nasus out from Kerberos if they feel like they won't necessarily have an answer to it. Because if we see Wazor blind Fiora just in the pretense that maybe they'll pick Nasus, it could put them in a really difficult spot.
Going to be Karma removed away. And again, we've got the Kalista down that bot side. Rakan is up and available as an option if that's the spot they want to go along with it. There's a couple of others as well, but it's going to actually be the Wukong taken away. So Nasus is available if they want to go that direction, but last game is struggled a little bit. So whether they feel confident in pulling that one out again, it's going to be a different story.
Warwick,
I think for me,
still open.
I think for me, you probably want to take support here. I think for touch, yeah, Alistair makes sense as well. It's like his preferred pick. I feel like Alistair, Tom, or Tarek would be the ones in my mind. And Singularity very going to quickly answer with Tarek. Wow. I mean, with Galio, sorry, and then the Tom Kench top lane.
Yeah,
which
that's strong.
Yeah, it's been buffed on this patch. It's pretty powerful. We'll see what Nordavind answer into it. Galio, decent into the Kalista, I guess, because you can put the AoE taunt down, but it just means you can't stack Rens up, but still pretty effective into it.
And I like the Tom Kench top just because I think you kind of nullify Kerberos a little bit. Like, it's not really a pick that you can do much against. He's kind of like I think overall it's just very strong. It's going to be hard to kind of push that Tom Kench out of lane to take over the game through top side. And even if you show some jungle attention, I mean, I don't really think there's a huge amount of risk there either. So, you know, just back to really what we saw out of the regular season here for Wazor, kind of playing a bit more of that weak side. Although I personally feel like Tom Kench is just so strong, honestly. Like, you can even play him as a tank and play him not weak side, but still he'll probably just be, you know, doing his own stuff, chilling out, and a bit of a difference to what we saw last game, which is very effective still on that Fiora, but you know, this is much more like the Singularity that we were seeing in regular season.
I think there's a lot of tools on Singularity side to set them up early. I think that early agency is really high, especially that mid jungle. You know, you have with the changes to Syndra, she's going to be able to contest Proud to Orianna. Lee Sin has more early agency than Viego. But if they don't sort of find that early lead, I think Nordavind are in a really good spot. Like, they have the two 2021 champions in Viego and Gwen, which, you know, you get them a couple items, it's like game over. I feel like on that front, this is there's a much clearer win con for Nordavind. And if they can navigate the early game, I feel really comfortable they should take this one. It's just mitigating that pressure coming out, particularly from Fury and Nulti.
Well, we said that they needed to fix the draft. It looks like they've done just that. Whether they can fix the issues on the Rift is another question. No, and it's going to be Hitprin and Jamada talking us through this game. Take it away.
Thank you very much, guys. We're getting ready to go into game number 2. A bit of a shake-up here. No Nasus this time, but there is the Tahm Kench in the top lane. Been a while, you know, since he kind of came back into the meta, but with that mini rework, he became more than just a support. We had seen him, you know, flexed a little bit into the top side. Question is how is Wazor going to handle this as Curb has got that Gwen? And, you know, like Orc said, 1 to 2 items, Gwen really starts to take over the game.
Yeah, she does. Gwen did get hit a little bit on this patch, though, as well. With the skip and slash, she doesn't quite have as much attack speed, sort of just pushed into the ability, and actually sat down with a top lane Tahm Kench specialist. Some of you may know him, Mr. Watley. And
yeah,
I spoke from a, you know, medium length about Tahm Kench top, and the general census was there's not really much that beats it in lane right now. The numbers are just jacked. So I'm curious to see how Kerberos is going to deal with this lane, especially considering Wazor also is running the Ignite. So again, looking for a little more kill threat on that cooldown. But I do agree with the sentiment on the desk. I think that Nordavind generally have an easier draft to navigate than the last time around, I think, in comparison to what SNG had. But SNG this time as well, a lot more early agency, right? Lee Sin plus Syndra. Oh, the NLC banner.
Yeah,
look at that.
They're really cool, aren't they? I put a tweet out earlier.
All right, I apologize. That kind of distracted me from my point. Noi on the Lee Sin, Fury on the Syndra. A lot of early game agency, right? Level 3 through 6. Going to be very, very powerful. And at that 6 mark as well, a lot of single target burst damage. Sharp and Ericsson, you know, once they do get those ultimates available, a lot more scary with the Heartbreaker and the Shockwave respectively, but still, it's a lot of damage to have to deal with in that mid 2v2. And with that in mind, I expect SNG to probably have priority through the mid lane because of the Syndra buffs, and probably transfer that pressure again down towards the Syndra lane where, you know, we saw Dragdown and Prosper navigate this lane pretty well in game 1, at least by the AD matchups. How much exactly the support matchups will change the dynamic of the spot lane. We'll have to give it a couple of levels, see what happens.
Well, laning phase is already kicked off here. And instantly, we do see Singularity are the ones who get the pressure on the lane. It's an Alistair. You do expect him to lose level 1. That's what that champion does, unfortunately. It's what he can do outside of that. As both the junglers starting up on their top side, clearing downwards, although Sharp didn't do his Krugs, so it's going to be a camp ahead just because of that, but we'll have to worry about resetting those at some point. We'll see what Sharp decides to do. As Syndra versus the Orianna getting shoved in by Ericsson early.
Yep. Fury just yielding some priority there. You can see Orianna definitely take priority in this lane sometimes, but Noi free camps from the top side, looking for a mid lane setup here. Fury with the Scout of the Week can set up an easy Sonic Wave. Ericsson probably unaware that this is about to happen. What's up?
Gets caught by the kick and the scatter. Ericsson flashes away to safety, tries to answer a little bit of additional damage into Fury, but at the end of the day, that's a flashless Orianna. That is not what you want. As Ericsson, very exposed, very easy to gank champion now, as the Crab should be won here by Null Team. For now, he's actually looking to invade into Sharp's jungle. Spot Sharp out, probably not going to steal away the blue buff, but Sharp going to have to concede the Crab on this side of the map and probably just have to move towards the top side, although he is moving down. He has got his bot lane, a bit of push, but level 3 is being hit by Nordavind, and that is going to be enough to scare them off. So at this point, Nulty has to be a little bit more careful, but Nulty was able to pick the Crab up, and Sharp kind of just wasted a bunch of time there, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, it's going to be a camp down, but knows Noi doesn't actually have his red buff. You would have seen him walking around without it, but there's vision on Sharp on this gank, so in the mid lane, looks like a bit of a counter going on. Sharp just pushed away his bottom side. Be shoved in by Nordavind. So even though Sharp had the bottom side prior, wasn't able to get that Crab, it looked like Noi pushed the Crab up towards Fury, where he did have mid lane priority.
Yeah. I think we also see that Nulty is now picking up the Crab as a light trade happening in the bot lane. You can tell our observers are bot laner, can't you? Because we watch a lot of bot lane.
I guess we do, yeah. You know, bot lane, it can be a fun lane, right?
It can be.
I think what I will say, I'm interested to see exactly how the top lane will, because
we haven't actually seen there at all.
Yeah, plus, you know, it's top lane Tahm Kench. You don't often see it. I think last week, or the weekend just gone by, we saw Odoamne run it, I believe, into Fnatic. And he had an okay enough time on it. I do believe Fnatic did win that game, unless memory is serving me wrong, but I did watch it. So hopefully I've not developed old brain already with the memory. But it looks good. I do remember that.
Well, Wave's going to get shoved in here by Ericsson Fury, looking to try and hold it, and then scatters it, so he's not holding it at all. Ericsson has got his jungler in his back pocket in case anything happens. Fury pretty low HP, so ideally wouldn't like to give Ericsson a free reset, but it looks like Ericsson should just be able to pick that one up. Don't think there's going to be really too much to be done about that, so Ericsson can go back and reset. But Fury did a pretty good job of trimming through the wave in the brief moment he was given.
Yeah.
So both mids are going to reset at the same time. No teleport on either of them. Both teleports at the same time. Top laners do have their teleports, so if we do see some map plays break out, it will be through those two.
Yeah, and at a quiet first 5 minutes of the game, I'm expecting once we hit level 6, things might change a little bit. A lot of these champions spike quite heavily. A lot of agency tools become available across the board, particularly on SNG side for me. Just about every single ultimate really does give a certain level of playmaking ability. On the side of Nordavind, like we said, want to try and see them pilot this one out with the Orianna. Try and let Viego and the Gwen hit some items as well, and then try and fight on those spikes. But if they can find fights, particularly around this bottom side, which Sharp is eyeing up on Noi's here, it's going to force him away. So it's not going to be a play able to actually happen.
Well, Wave's going to get shoved in. It's going to give Singularity that reset they want. They haven't actually been back to base yet, as Chris Berg's got himself the tier 2 boots. Obviously, that upgrades the dash range. I think you dash more based on not your movement speed, but the boot level, I think, is how it works on Callista, if that's how it still works.
Unless it's changed, I'm pretty sure that was it, yeah.
Yeah. First Dragon going to get picked up by Sharp, or at least started by Sharp with a reset from Singularity, so...
Yeah.
Earlier reset for Nordavind were able to get themselves will pay some dividends, and now Fury has to be a little bit careful. Ghost on Kerberos has got that needlework, and they're looking to jump in. The shockwave as he flashes out. The Needlework's going to do a lot of damage here, and Curb finds himself first blood. Nolty's trying to get a bit of additional damage, but here comes the flash, here comes the turnaround. Prosfair finds the kill onto Ericsson, and it's a 1-for-1 in the mid lane.
Yeah, both mid laners dying there. I thought that Noi and Fury might have enough damage to actually take down Ericsson, or Kerberos rather, but I was wrong. They do eventually manage to pick up Ericsson, stepping a little bit too far forward, going for Noi. Not expecting Prosfair to come through the lane. Nice roam use of time there by Kerberos, going to teleport up and effectively not really miss too much. Going to pick up this big stacked up wave and found himself a kill. That's Gwen getting herself on the board. Accelerated closer towards that first item. As
everybody up top side, Curb.
Yeah, they're not
have to be a little bit careful here.
Not too happy.
Kick's going to land. He is able to buy himself a bit of space, but remember, he is flashless, and Wazor not even going to be able to swim in time, but down goes Kerberos.
Yeah.
Second kill for Singularity.
Seems like Fury said, go kill that guy for me, team. And SNG willing to abide, and that should also be the Herald off the back of that play. Noi's going to start that one up, so I'm expecting on the bottom side, as you can already see, actually being me to the point. Nordavind starting to congregate members around the bottom side. They know they're going to have to give up this Herald, so they're going to cross-map the play, and it looks like Chrisberg should, at the very bare minimum, get 2 plates off this tower. So that's going to be the baseline effectiveness of what this Herald should get for SNG. Looking at how...
Ooh, it's not the case.
Yeah, all right.
Almost 2 solo plates, but just the single solo plate. So it's still a cash injection to Chrisberg, who has a CS lead over Dragdar. But that Rift Herald now in the pocket of Nolty. The question is where are we going to see that go down? Remember, 2 plates have already been taken on the top side as well, so it's a pretty easy one to open up. And remember, Kerberos running the Ghost and not the Flash. It is a pretty long lane for him, as that plate does get picked up, but Nordavind are bringing everybody in. They've got that shockwave. The touch is coming in. It's the old school ball delivery into the 2-man shockwave. Dragged up, puts the chains out, but they're interrupted already. Sharp the Heartbreaker secures the kill, and Chrisberg recalls his Pokemon back to safety. Nordavind are out of there.
Yeah, really clean dive by Nordavind right there. I was expecting that maybe Wazor and Fury together would teleport, potentially even early to defend this play, but I suppose because Noi was on the top side, they weren't willing to try and make the 4v4 work out. But either way, execution, crisp by Nordavind, don't drop a single member, and they also find Dragdar with that classic ball delivery system. Orianna, plus that Alistar. Very, very nice stuff. And like you said, it's about where now SNG are going to use this Herald, because effectively, Herald play, they have kind of nullified out majority of the gold. So where exactly will they put it? You know, top side, like you called out, really low already. Could look to almost take down the tower, but you're putting the gold into the Tom Kench lane, right? Maybe if you swap around the lane, Simons, get Dragdar up there, you get Fury up there, then it's more of a worthwhile Herald.
Yeah.
And it looks like Wazor and Dragdar, they're resetting at the same time. That could be the call. We'll see where they go out of base. Dragdar's walking towards the top side, so like I said, top side tower looks like it's going to be the target. And they're going to try and put the gold onto Dragdar.
I don't think there's going to be a cross map as well. No dragon up at the moment.
No, but I'd expect Nordavind to still put their numbers towards the bottom side. Try and cross map out and get Chrisberg, rather, some plates with relative ease. Tom Kench, bit of a tough customer to dive, but he is going to be alone without Flash. See if they decide to make it happen as Noi on the top side.
That's Ghost used by Kerberos, and nice and quick as Prosfair finds himself knocked up, flashes over the wall. Sharp can chase down. All he needs is a Spectral Maw. Going to charge it up, and Prosfair just about on the cusp of that ability, so able to get away, but the Rift Herald will get summoned in the top side, and Curb, ghostless, can't really do too much. He's just going to have to give this one up as Wazor goes for a quick swim back to safety, and they may look for that second charge. I don't think Kerberos really can contest this. No. Hasn't really got any backup. There is a teleport available to Ericsson, but Wazor might be on the receiving end of a gank here. As you can see, Ericsson's moving his way down, and they're trying to answer out with their own turret as they're stacking up some spears early from Chrisberg. The Abyssal Voyage is going to buy the space, though, and Wazor able to get away for free. Charge did break out in the top side, and a plate picked up for Nordavind, but end of the day, Singularity happy with this play. They are the team who've already found a win in this series. If they can keep this up, they might be looking towards a 2-0.
And I mean, Nordavind, they pick up a plate, yes, but the issue is, for me, spread out between 4 members, so everybody only got 40 gold. Nice. That's about it. A lot of the gold more concisely on Dragdar. Wazor
Comes in. Oh, what an insect. Goes in for the Abyssal Voyage, but the knock-up will stop him. Chrisberg secures his second kill, and Sharp turns into a catfish. His touch, he ain't going down today.
I'm wondering how hard Prospera and Noyo are willing to go on to touch, but still have the Unbreakable Will. So not really worth going for that one. As Dragon, second one of the game for Nordavind here. So this time around, unlike last game, in contrast, Nordavind do have the first two dragons. Well, no, they have the first two dragons, but they have it a lot earlier, is what I'm going for here. So Soul Point, much more within reach. And on top of that, the gold difference this time around isn't so large. It's actually even. Nordavind edging out a couple hundred gold, if you want to be very specific about it. And this is a much healthier game state than game one to be sitting in. Kalista should be pretty close to her Immortal Shield, but in fact, she might be basing for it now. If I had to maybe take a guess with those 2 kills in her inventory. 120.
Did detour for an extra dagger, so there's that to work around, but does sell the dagger and buy the shield bow. There we go, Chrisberg. First mythic for him finished up. Second mythic for the team, and third mythic in the game as Divine Sunder and Gore Drinker have been picked up for the junglers respectively.
Yeah.
And we'll see where we're going from there. It looks like the Eclipse build is coming in for Dragdar.
I really want to see now from Nordavind try and play more willingly around Chrisberg and Sharp, the 2 strong members on the team right now. Ericsson will scale eventually. Same thing for Kerberos, and he picked up that kill earlier on. And those are your 2 strong agency members. Mid lane is fighting out.
Shockwave lands onto Fury. Ericsson's low on mana though, and
wow,
Ericsson just finds the solo kill with a Clockwork wind up. Wazor just going to taste the minion on the way out.
Yeah, Wazor not able to get to his mid laner in time, and Fury not actually respecting the amount of damage Ericsson put out. Ericsson finds himself a nice solo kill, flashes away from the cavalry. And the plates are now going to drop off too. So there's going to be any crazy gold trades anymore in the towers. Whoa. I mean, it was alright.
It was alright.
But
it was more it hit. The range on it was quite long, but then again, it is Varus. That's what Varus does. You can see that Nolte's sneaking his way in. They need to clear through these minions a little bit before Nolte can step up. But I think yeah, actually just going to call it here. Doesn't really want to go for this anymore.
Yeah, I really, like I said, I want to see Nordavind play more around this Kalista pick now. So trying to move her up maybe to this Herald if they want to put priority on that. Maybe after this wave, try and hotch of it. But the issue is Galio and Varus very often will have priority, but they're actually going to yield it on this wave. So now, unless they want to make this tower dive work, which seems to actually be the call here, moving down 4 members, this is exactly the kind of thing I want to see either way. Play around the strong Kalista, Sharps on his first item spike, and if SNG try to contest, even if they bring teleports down, they should just end up losing out. So that's going to be a tower going into Kalista's back pocket. And this is, for me, what Nordavind has to continue to do right now. You can see 1.2k gold lead accrued at the moment. Even though Sharp 1-to-1 is down on Noe, still, in terms of the items, the actual relative strength right now, Viego is doing just fine. So, want to see the strength of these champions leveraged for as long as possible. Actually, the dragon counters are missing.
They are missing.
Observer.
There we go. Hey! 2 minutes time until that final trade comes up.
2 minutes till the next dragon. I want to try and see Nordavind prepare around this. This is the kind of time where you typically see teams start to get some early vision down. You can already see denying away the vision from SNG. And I expect Touch will try to reset relatively soon unless they want to try and skirmish for this Herald, which, seeing pings on the way, Chrisberg's coming out of base, but still the numbers are just about here.
Well, the Rift Herald should get secured as Ericsson gets caught out by the Scat of the Week. Shockwave available, but heavily chunked as the chains come down into the arrow. Sharp's going to get chunked heavily. And we're looking for a team fight. Curb has skipped into the middle. The Rift Herald is stolen away, and the Needlework starting to put the damage down from Kerberos. Prosper's buying some space, but he's taken down. Chrisberg secures the kill, and Curb will snip through Wazor as he flashes in forward for Sharp. A great kick out to disengage at the moment. They find themselves on knockup. It's a double kill picked up for Kerberos, and Dragdar continuing to be chased down. The heal's been used to snip. Ooh. Not gonna cut through Dragdar's health bar.
Yeah, Nordavind, they win the fight, and on top of that, they also got the Herald. Sharp one out on the smite fight. I think Naughty got forced out a little bit too far. I think SNG a little bit too scared. Nordavind kind of came at a more frontal angle, able to pick their targets, even though Dragdar was on the side, chunking out a couple of members. The damage just isn't quite there yet for this Varus. Nordavind just kind of walk over SNG in this exchange. Now they find themselves 3,000 gold up. They've got the Herald in their back pocket, and they should be the first ones to this Dragon here as well. Only thing that could mess things up right here is if Chrisberg gets caught out, but members of Nordavind, they're approaching.
Oh, they found themselves the taunt. That's onto 2 members already. Chrisberg passes away, but the kick can follow up. They're not going to go for it. Nolty already chunked. Scatter the Weak doesn't quite hit. And Ericsson has now rejoined the team. Shield bow procs from that arrow from Dragdar. So that's now going to be on cooldown for a little while. But Nordavind, they're not willing to yield this pressure. They've got this Rift Out. They want to use it in the mid lane. They want to use it to get priority to secure their 3rd Dragon of the game. The charge will go down. The tower will crumble. And the Dragon will get started. Nordavind honestly starting to run away with this game too.
Yeah, I think for me, so far Nordavind been a stronger team in this game too. They've understood and had a much easier time playing around their core conditions. Who got that red bar?
It was Ericsson with the command dissonance.
Because Kerberos threw up the thinking emote, and I was like, okay, then who got it if it wasn't him? Get the replay of this Herald fight, and again, you can see Nordavind kind of all together approaching the fight at one angle. You can see Dragdar and Fury kind of on the side, and it just means Nordavind, they take control of the Herald area, they pick up the Herald, and Prosphere, it's nice heroics on the backside to lock down so many members, but Touch and Kerberos kind of just bullying on the tank of Wazor, and Prosphere, again, isolated with so many members of Nordavind on top of him, just dies, and it means the rest of Nordavind eventually can just walk over SNG at the blue buff. Dragdar just about barely survives. If that blast cone wasn't there, that would have been his life.
I'll also come out of the replay and back in to the live game. Looks like the final turret is where Nordavind have their sights set. Touch wanting to pick up this ward, but with Prospero on the flank, actually, this could be a pretty rough angle for them. The teleports have been brought down. Heartbreak over the wall, but the taunt is already connected. Sharp on the run. The Abyssal Voyage is here, and Wazor joins into the fray. They've got a grand entrance as everybody's pulled in. The Kerb doubles the robot, and Ericsson's forced to flash away. Kerb gets kicked out, tries to find himself a little bit more needlework, but the CC from Prospero starting to stack up, and Kerb is missing out on these needleworks. But on the other side of the fight, Chrisberg is mopping everybody up. The Spectral Maw Fury will go down as Kerberos secures the 3rd kill of the fight for Nordavind, and Singularity are scattered. They are looking for a turnaround though onto Kerb, but he's able to skip and slash to safety. Nordavind are just out team fighting Singularity right now.
Yep, and it's because of this massive gold lead they found for themselves as well. The champion's just much stronger at this point in the game. You're talking about the Viego and the Callista against the Varus, who's still searching for his 2nd item. That's truly when Varus comes online, unless he's accelerated in XP, which in this case he's just not. He's 2 levels down because of all of the focus put into the Callista this time around. Noi hasn't been able to find the impact in the early game like he did last time around either. So, same Venom isn't quite there. The replay on our screen, I was actually worried more about Kerberos on the bottom side, finding a nice sort of entrance into the fight. Of course, the start of it is Sharp almost getting picked off by the Devourer as well. Does almost lock Ericsson down, but you know, you can see Wazor kind of on the front line soaking up all this damage. No one else on SNG is following up, and Touch finds a nice combination onto both of the carries. Scout of the Week does keep Fury alive a little bit longer, but quite frankly it's just not enough at this point. Nordavind have already on the fight, finds himself outnumbered on both sides of the map. I was going to say this time around SNG, it feels like not quite, I'm not going to say as prepared for this game, but felt like they weren't able to really play around anywhere, right? This mid-jungle duo. In particular, I felt like the Lee Sin and the Syndra, they weren't really able to abuse the Orianna as much in the early game post that first gank. They weren't really able to find the lead anywhere, point of pressure to actually sort of leverage against Nordavind, and it meant that Nordavind had all this freedom to give Chrisberg all of these resources now. 2 items to his name, 3 dragons on the board for Nordavind. And they're kind of eyeing up the top side to potentially drag SNG into an unfavorable fight around Baron.
Gonna get himself that crab, and you know, it was a slow start to this game, but the action has started to ramp up in recency as Kerb now with the Zhonya's Hourglass in the bot lane, going to be shoving away. Didn't go for that Nash a second, so obviously does a little bit less auto attack speed to be able to kind of chip away at those towers, but Kerb's going to be quite happy to do so as Wazor just swims down to pick up the wave and make sure that the tower doesn't get started on. But this now means that Kerberos roaming back up towards the mid lane to join the team, and Touch has now got the flashback. We saw an amazing headbutt pole in that last team fight onto 2 members. Have to keep that in mind because now he's got a flash. He can close that gap even quicker as Nolty gonna get zoned away from the blue buff. It looks like they're gonna try and actually give it over to Ericsson as he is able to get it.
Yeah, it is just able to get it now. I will say, if Nordavind do try and start this Baron up, Dragon spawns in around 40 seconds or so. So I imagine for Nordavind, the focus is either going to be one or two things. The actual soul itself, or trying to split SMG's focused on getting one measly Infernal Dragon over a Baron. I have to wait and see, because either way, either option Nordavind pick, SMG are going to have to make a very quick decision about what they want to do here. Right now, a little bit neutral sitting in the mid lane. Items, honestly, more than favored for Nordavind right now because of the gold lead. SMG have to kind of find a miracle fight if they want to make this one work. I think realistically, if they try and contest this Infernal, they're just going to lose. I think Nordavind understand that. The issue is, if you don't fight, you're giving up soul. So pick your poison, really.
It's the worst soul. It is the worst soul to give up. They're looking for a pick onto Curb, but Curb not even going to give them the opportunity. They know it's going on. They've got that ward in the pit. They're going to pop the Scryers. Nolty, can he find that Miracle Steal? No, he can't. As he secures himself his own red buff, but now soul picked up for the side of Nordavind. And that's just going to make this dragon even harder to walk into. No team has vision in that area, though, so I think the resets are going to come in. The final gold's going to get spent, and then it's going to be Nordavind setting up for this Baron Nashor, and then looking to close the game from there.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think with this soul in the back pocket now, SNG, the chances of them making out of this game with a win, clean 2 over Nordavind, looking very, very slim. You can see the gold graph. Just over time, really. I just continue to grow over the last 10 minutes or so. Nordavind played this one out exactly how they've had to. I think to perfection. Did he miss a cannon?
He missed a cannon.
Okay. So, for SNG, kind of just have to sit on the defense and hope Nordavind fumble teamfight execution. I think other than that, if you try and make a proactive play, chances are Nordavind will have the numbers around to actually respond. A lot of decent bounties, but it's going to be tough.
Found the knock up onto Curb, pops the needlework, and now gives himself that hallowed mist as the unleashed power hits. The stopwatch is burnt. Looking for the knock up. He goes for the turnaround. Curb finds the kill. He's looking for the second. The ghost is popped. They get the scout of the week off. Can he survive now? Puts up the old blitz cranking. Curb gonna skip and slash to safety. Still found himself a kill in a 1v2. As Prospect now getting chased onto. Chains do hit, though, on to the carry, but Ericsson not going to get locked down, and they are just going to back up. The chains were used, but nothing else.
And Nordavind, they've got numbers advantage.
Spotted out Curb. He's teleported in now. Doesn't have that needlework, but Prospect, he's buying some space. He's trying to find the grand escape, but he's unable to do so. As Chrisberg now dominating in this game. And it's just back to Baron, back to business. Singularity constantly trying to check, constantly trying to find an opportunity to get in the pit. But Curb's on the other side doing the red buff. He's in the area to contest. Now, Fury can find a big scatter of the week. That could be the breaking point as Ericsson's been slow. Goes in for a stopwatch instantly. The Abyssal Voyage not going to quite hit him as he flashes away to safety. Touch.
Drag Dart isolated.
Drag Dart's picked up by Chrisberg. And Ericsson is still buying space while the rest of the team are getting absolutely walked through here. The needlework from Kerberos slowing everybody down as the Abyssal Voyage is just flashed, followed by Chrisberg. It's going to get gobbled up by the moment from the Devour, but Chrisberg is legendary right now. He's chasing for more. The slow from the Ren, the unleashed power, the double kill has been picked up, and Chrisberg with a triple kill is unleashed. Nolty trying to make the grand escape. The Ren will slow him. The blast cone will give Nolty the space and the freedom to escape, but not before Curb comes in for the chase, comes in for the follow-up. Nolty's going to get away with his life, but everything else has been stripped away from him. The Baron and his tower in the mid lane.
Yeah, and Baron going down. I'm expecting Nordavind with this massive gold lead now to close out. It's been a very, very impressive game from Nordavind for me. And it's what we had to see after that game 1. SNG very clearly came in with a game plan. And though there were a couple of worries potentially around the Tom Kench pick, it seems worries averted as far as the score lines go. Get a replay of the team fight. And SNG, honestly, it's desperation, but you have to make this you have to try to make this work, right? Shockwave onto 2 on the top side. Dragdar's isolated. SNG just kind of all over the place, but, you know, Noti does find Ericsson up in the top side by himself, but realistically, Wazor and Fury kind of just left to the wolves at this point. Chrisberg flashes over the wall to follow. The needlework slowed down Fury enough to try and get the follow-up. And eventually, you'll see a real nice little bit of mechanics there. Chrisberg gets the rend reset to get the slow to continue to find the execute onto Syndra on the back end. Crossfair, pretty much just a final sacrifices on the top side, trying to go onto Curb, but
yeah, I don't know if you want that. That's the level 16 Gwen. She's got the Spirit's Visage as well. Curb, gonna be a problem. Gonna be a real problem, and I don't know how they deal with him because they've also got to deal with Chrisberg, 10-0, 3.5 items right now on the Callista. They do look to jump onto Curb. The slows are coming in, but Curb just chips away the damage with a quick snip. And Nolty goes back to base, looking stylish with a new haircut.
Yeah, and Noi actually blew the Dragon's Rage too. It's obviously a very short cooldown, but again, using an ultimate to not really find much. Still going to feel very bad for SNG and Nordavind. They're going to crack open the base in the mid lane. 50 seconds until this Elder Dragon spawns. If Nordavind want to take it to that. Given the positioning, it looks like we may see actually an Elder fight break out because tower on the top side taken down, inner, and I don't quite know how much priority Nordavind are going to put on this mid lane inhibitor. Looks like more the priority down towards that tier 2 instead. And they're probably just going to retreat back over to this Elder. Try and drag SNG out to one final fight. And SNG, I mean, it all comes down to that, I suppose. They can steal it away. Semblance of hope, but I mean, 15,000 gold down. Not a lot. They're on top side though.
Yeah, they are looking for the kill, but Curb actually just putting so much damage in. The unleashed power, the kick goes back. He goes in for a quick stopwatch, trying to survive, chasing for more, but he is going oh so low. The healing is huge from Kerberos, but he's finally shut down. But at what cost? 2 inhibitors will fall. Nordavind can just retreat out towards that Elder Dragon. Curb won't be up in time to be able to join the team for it. But god damn, that Gwen is hard to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, this is, however, the window for SNG, right? They've got the numbers advantage. Nordavind got to wait for Curb to come back out onto the map. You can see SNG, they know they have to force a fight. However, 3 ultimates used on the top side to take down Gwen. So it's just Chains of Corruption, just the heroic entrance from Galio that they're working with. These aren't great tools when you need the rest for damage. But they have to pull the trigger. They have to start this dragon up. And it's on Nordavind now to actually navigate this.
Pretty much every ultimate's available, bar that Devour, but it's on a pretty low cooldown. It's almost back up. Prosper playing the zoning duty for the moment. Watch for the shockwave. That is going to have to be the big tool that they work with. In goes Touch with a flash, gets the headbutt, gets the pole for the moment. Ericsson hasn't pulled the trigger quite yet, and Touch has been taken out by Nolty for the moment.
Look at Curb.
In the middle of everyone, and Curb's found himself a flank. They're looking for the heroic entrance, and look at the damage coming down. Chrisberg is untouched, and he is ripping. He is rending through the hellfires of Singularity, and just like that, it is a clean ace for the side of Nordavind. Ericsson is teleported into the mid lane. He's got the minion wave. We're going to game number 3.
Yes, we are, and start to finish dominance in this one from Nordavind. They're able to play through the Callista lane. They were able to leverage the amount of strength this champion can have when you get it ahead. And crucially, they shut down Dragdar. Fury and Noi weren't able to really find an in onto Ericsson despite that first early gank. They gave Nordavind a really clear path. A much easier to execute draft for me this time around as well. Kind of leaves SNG scratching their heads in this game 2, and it takes it to a game 3. It's effectively a best of 1 now. And I think side selection in particular are going to be a very, very big thing for game 3. And I'm just going to throw it out there and say SNG are probably going to pick red side for this game 3. If I had to wager a guess, and that means Curb's, champion pool, his picks might not be as potent like what we saw in game 1.
Yeah, it was they played through the bot lane, but this time the comp they were playing into were much better into it. It wasn't the amount of range, it wasn't that Varus Ziggs, it was a lot shorter range comp, and Chrisberg was just able to kite around the middle of these fights with, just that additional bit of range and not under real threat of getting heavily poked out. It was honestly really, really nice stuff there. And that does put us through to game number 3, but for now we're going to throw to a break, and when we're back we'll have the analyst test to talk a little bit more about that game number 2, so we'll see you in a moment.